Hello crafty friends, this is the Papered Chef here. In today's Brother Scan and Cut Tips and Tricks tutorial, we will do an in-depth comparison of direct cut versus ScanNCut data. We will do it on the CM350 model of ScanNCut and on the SDX125 model of ScanNCut. Why? Because knowing the difference between these two features will save you time and frustration. You'll know when to use each of the features, and I'm hoping to also address viewer questions. So let's get started. I'm going to base this video off of my last video. And in my last video, I talked about these martini glasses, which are part of the Share Sunshine digital stamp set. This is what they look like after I use my pencil trick. And let me find one where I didn't use the pencil trick yet. And so this part's a review, and I'm not going to go over how to load the mat and all this again in detail. But if you have gaps, you need to take a pencil and enclose the gaps. Okay, like that. I've already done all that. Let's just get to the point of scanning. When you see pattern and scan, when you turn on your machine, you're going to click scan. We want to directly cut out the martini glasses, so we're going to click direct cut. It's asking where you want to save these. We want to save it to our machine. Or you could save it to, this is just temporary storage. Or you could save it to Canvas Workspace Online. Okay, black and white recognition mode, 99% of the time that's all you need. Color recognition mode is in here, but that takes way longer, and you don't really need it unless you have like skin tones or something really difficult. But these martini glasses are not difficult. They have well-defined outlines. Just all you got to do is remember is to enclose all the gaps. In fact, depending on your printer, you may have more gaps. But I had a couple gaps up there and one next to the olive on this one over here, but not on the other ones. So anyway, enclose all your gaps, black and white recognition mode, and start. So I'm only concerned with the martini glasses for this particular example for today, because I've had so many viewer questions just about these martini glasses, and I am moving my machine, which you shouldn't really do during scanning. I'm just doing it so it doesn't hit the machine behind it, because I have that up on my table as well. So it's recognizing, and I'm using just sort of cheap cardstock that I have from my stash, because this is a digital stamp set. I printed out loads and loads of these pages with the martini glasses, and I'm cutting them all out, so I just wanted to explain when I would use direct cut versus ScanNCut data and why. So here we go. I only want the martini glasses. That's all I'm concerned with right now because of this lesson. And I'm going to select the area I want. Okay, so I'm directly cutting out these images. I'm not saving anything right now. I'm just directly cutting out. One thing to understand about direct cut, this is very important, is it directly cuts whatever is on the mat. You can't move these items around. Okay, that's very important point to remember. Doesn't matter what machine you have. You cannot move things around in direct cut. In other words, they're going to cut right there on the paper, right there on the paper. They're not cutting anywhere else. You might want them to cut somewhere else, but they are not going to cut somewhere else. They're only cutting in that spot on the paper. This little area we selected. So one thing you can do at this point is, this is the CM350, is you can go in here and you can ignore object size so that it doesn't cut out things like stray marks. Maybe there's some stray marks. So I'm selecting the area I want. That's one way to get what you want to cut. Another way to get what you want to cut is ignore object size. Don't go too high here. You don't want to ignore the very object you're trying to cut. So if you make this ignoring object size too big, you'll start ignoring the very martini glasses you're trying to cut. But you can ignore that, and that'll get rid of any stray bits. And then after I click OK, I can edit out the stray bits as well. All right, so let's get to some viewer questions. I had 7 just concerning this topic alone, but I mean, I probably had over 20. So Pat asked, this is Pat, she asked on the last video, is there a way to layer the martini glasses on the CM? I have a CM650. Well, of course there's a way to layer the martini glasses. You can use direct cut. Okay, let's put the first layer. Let's just go ahead and do it. I'm going to answer her question. We're going to go here to, this is the outline distance. I'm in direct cut. I'm going to put a 0.04 outline distance. We're going to click OK. We're going to click OK. And we're going to cut that. And by the way, just so you know, if you want to edit out any more stray bits, you're going to edit here. And you can trash any extra stray marks you don't want to cut. But we want to cut these glasses with an outline distance of 0.04. And I'm going to just tell you about the blade depth quickly, because a lot of this is a review. I'm using cheap cardstock, so I'm going to probably go up with a 4. So a 4, blade depth of 4 because I'm using a CM350. To set your blade depth, go up to 12, go back to 4. And if that doesn't work, I'll change it to a 5. But don't go too high at first because you could cut a hole in your mat. Been there, done that. We're cutting out the 2 martini glasses. I do have to move my machine a little bit because I don't want it to run into the machine behind it. Now, here's what's going to happen when we cut those out. We're going to get something like this. Of course, not colored. We have to color them. I showed that in the last video. I use the Stampin' Blends to color my martini glasses. Okay, so that's what we're going to get. Direct cut. Now, let's do this. So let me show you because I don't want you to think there's any trickery going on. But I don't want to keep moving my camera either. So here, I peel off the mat. You can't really see it, but look. See? It just directly cut them out. I'm going to peel them off with my spatula, and then I'll show them to you. But just so you believe me, we directly cut them out. Do we need to do anything? Did we need to save them? No. We used direct cut. Okay, so by now you should understand this much in this tutorial, is that you can just use direct cut when you want to cut something out, right? And you want to make a layer. You don't need ScanNCut data to make a layer. You can make layers with direct cut. This is direct cut. I love my CM350. I think it does a fantastic job, and I actually think it does a better job cutting stamped images, patterns. It does a better job of direct cutting than my SDX models. And there's a reason for that. And I get into that in other tutorials where I talk about scanning, cutting, position adjustment. And that's because I'm able to control precisely how much white space is around the outside, like through aligning my machine, whereas the other machines try to auto-align. And I like aligning my machine manually. And I think direct cut does a fantastic job. Now, let's talk about direct cut on the CM350 as I grab a piece of foil from my stash. I'm going to grab a piece of rose foil. Here we go. Here's a piece of rose foil. So, I'm going to answer Pat's question. We're going to say okay. Now, keep in mind this part of the mat, right? It's about 2 inches. Let me move these. It's 2 inches down, or about 2 inches, it's more than 2 inches down, but less than 3. I'm just kind of putting a piece of foil in that same area. And it's like this general area. So I'm going to put something there. I'm going to go back. I'm using direct cut. Once again, I got to keep saying that. I'm clicking on this outline distance. I'm increasing it to 0.08. Okay, 0.08, because that was her exact question. Is there a way to make the third layer? She's talking about third layer because we did one without a layer. We did one with a 0.04. Now we're doing one with a 0.08. So is there a way to do a 0.08 outline distance using my CM model of machine? Absolutely. I'm just showing you how. I'm using direct cut. I scanned in my object, and I used this outline distance. I click OK, and I'm going to cut. And right now, you might not be able to see it, but I have some foil there. I just put some foil down. Sorry for glare if I blinded you. And I put some foil down on the page, and I'm going to click cut. But I need to increase my my blade depth, because I'm using Stampin' Up! Foil, maybe to 6. I'm going to go up to a 6. Okay? Because go all the way up to 12, go back to 6. Because it's pretty thick cardstock. And I'm putting my blade back in. And we've talked about blade holders before and how to load the blade holder. I'm trying to just keep this to sticking with just direct cut versus ScanNCut data. That's what I'm trying to keep this to. Okay, so I'm cutting out a piece of foil. Now, I got to show this to you. Then I can put my machine on the floor and go to the other machine. This was 0.04 outline distance, the first set. Now I just cut 0.08 outline distance. Okay, and let's put this machine down for a moment, but let's click OK. And you could just keep going. I could click back. Okay, I'm going to click back. I'm in direct cut still. I can't move these objects. Can't move them. No matter how much you want to move them, you can't move them. I'm going to go back in here, but you can add another layer. You can remove the paper. You can put new paper, and you can get yet another outline from your ScanNCut. So there's my foil. Okay, so let's just pull the foil off. I'm going to put this machine away. I'm going to put this machine down. I'll show you these layers that we just made using direct cut and the CM350. Look at these cool layers. Here they are. Here are the layers. Okay. Here are the layers. All right, I'm done with the CM350 now for a moment. Well, I mean, I'll come back to it at the end because I need to really get you guys to understand this. So we're just going to close all that. I'm not saving it because I can't save it. The reason I can't save it is because I use direct cut, okay? So I can't save anything. I'll go home, delete all patterns. Now we're done with the CM350 for now. I'm putting it down. My other machine is ready to go. And you're like, wait a minute, Papered Chef. You did a whole bunch of these at once yesterday. I left them on the mat on purpose to teach this lesson. How in the world did you do that? Okay, I have to kind of go back to the beginning so you get a thorough understanding of how I did this, and so you understand what you can and can't do with your different machines. Okay, so here we go. I'm just left it there to show you. This was the SDX125, and boy, we cut out a whole page of these. With the CM350, yeah, you can cut out your outline distance, and you can use direct cut. But with the SDX125, I was able to talk about saving paper, doing other things, and why was I able to do that on this machine and not the CM350? So herein lies the answer, and I'm peeling these all off, okay, by the way. Oops, that was rose gold foil. I should have used my spatula. And I have it right here, so why am I not using it? But anyway, because I just want to get to the meat of this. So we're going to take another piece of paper we're going to do the pencil trick on this. We're going to do this. We're going to do the direct cut again, only because it's part of the way I wanted to teach you this lesson. So I'm putting this down. Okay, so I want to answer another question while I'm here. I'm trying to answer several questions today. Let me check off that we answered Pat's question. Is there a way to do the outline? Yes, we answered Pat's question. She can make the outline on the CM350 she has, because really there's just two models. I mean, there's like 20 models of ScanNCut. But I get asked all the time, what about this model and that model? There's really only two guts of the machines. We have a CM model and we have an SDX model in the Brother. Not we, I don't work for Brother. I'm saying they have two models. So if you can do something in my CM350 machine, you can do it in your other CMs. And if you can do something in my SDX, you can do it in your other ones, for the most part. So Ellen asked, I don't understand why you keep putting things in the middle of the mat. My CM or 350 WX, I have to keep starting to cut on the left. Okay, you don't have to keep starting to cut on the left. You maybe the machine wants to start cutting on the left. So I wanted to answer her question about, I'm putting things in the middle of my mat for no other reason than, there's a few reasons I put things on the middle of my mat. So I'm going to put it here in the middle of the mat, say. One reason was so that I can like tape around it without blocking the registration marks, because I do a lot of taping to hold my papers on. Another reason is because it always starts cutting patterns out in the top left, this part doesn't stay very sticky, and things tend to get jammed up in there. And so I just like the middle of my mat. Oh, there's a hair on there. Yuck, a hair. We'll use a different piece of tape. The middle of the mat just works better for me. It just scans better. So every machine has a different personality. So to answer Ellen's question, put things wherever you want them on the mat. You can put things on the bottom right inch of the mat if you wanted. Doesn't matter. Okay, check. We answered that question, hopefully. So put things wherever you want on the mat. Whatever part of your mat scans better. All right, so then Kathy and Judy asked, I have the CM350. Can I do all the things you're showing on my machine? I have the CM350. So can you do the same layering and ScanNCut data? So I'm going to answer now Judy and Kathy UK's questions. Okay, I'm going to answer those two. By doing this, by comparing, I'm going to show you the direct cut and versus ScanNCut data on the SDX125. That's what I'm about to do. Still using martini glasses because although I wanted to work on nurse cards for nurses and healthcare workers, I thought, I better keep sticking to the martini glasses. And then I did want to cut out some more anyway. And I thought, let me stick with the martini glasses because those were the exact questions we had. So let's go back to home. All right, here we go. I'm trying to find my pencil. What I want to do is use the pencil trick on these martini glasses before I try to scan them in. All right, so I'm just doing the pencil trick, or maybe I already did it on the one. Okay. Boy, that was I just did a really bad job on that pencil trick. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to slow down. I'm going to tape my paper back. There we go. if you slow down when you draw your pencil marks, they should work out a little better. Okay, so I'm just enclosing my gap. So I put the paper down, I'm about to scan it in. So, pattern and scan. Now I just want to show you this again because maybe this is the first time you're coming across my videos and you always like to start at the beginning. Scan, direct cut, save it to the machine. Now it's asking, do you want to use 12 by 6 recognition area? Okay, so we didn't have this option in the CM, did we? Now you can select how much of the place you want to, or how much of the mat you want to scan. I like to always just scan the top if that's where my images are, which they happen to be. And you could also select 12 by 12. And you could also at this point select the color recognition mode or black and white. I'll stick with black and white. We talked about why, and we click on start. I gotta tape my new martini glasses back down. We click on start. And it's scanning in the martini glasses. And hopefully the paper doesn't get stuck in there. We're gonna click OK. And it did a good job. It recognized both martini glasses. Same as before, you're gonna select the area you want, which is this area here. And then the ways to get rid of things you don't want are ignore object size. Okay, ignore object size by selecting the area you want, and again by editing. By editing out the objects you don't want in this edit mode, okay? Again, let's put an outline distance around these. Outline of 0.04. There we go. Let's cut these. 0.04, and we're gonna cut. We're gonna select cut. Same as the other machine. Nothing was different except where you saw the only thing that was different is where you saw the outline distance. The place you see it is different, the settings. Where you saw it. That was one way it was different. And the other way it was different is that I didn't need to set the blade depth, did I? Okay, so it knows. It uses auto blade technology. It knows. Now, mind you, I just aligned my machine yesterday or the day before. Okay. I have to show you this. This is very important because you're going to be wondering why I go back and forth between my different machines. Click OK. And we're done with that concept right now, except for I can go back. Okay, I can go back and I can increase the outline distance just like you could with the CM350. And I can cut. I can put a piece of foil down in the same general area and I can cut out more layers. Okay? Why didn't I do that for this machine? So let's click OK. Let's close. Okay, you can cut out layers just like before. So let's first get to let me first show you the result of cutting out directly. And then I'm going to get back to why I don't cut layers that way in this type of machine. So here, let's look at this. I just aligned it a couple days ago. And it doesn't matter. I can align it 10 times, 20 times in the same day. The SDX machine. It never does as good of a job as the CM350. Never. It just never has. It probably never will. And I'm okay with that because I have one more machine. But I mean, sorry, brother, you just never align it quite as good. No big deal. It still does a great job. I'm going to use these on cards. Absolutely. I love these. I absolutely love these. But they're just not as good. I'm keeping it real. So let's find the ones we just did a minute ago with here we go. I'll compare them. In fact, let's do a side-by-side comparison. I'm going to keep this one in this hand. Let's put something behind it. I need to put something behind it of like a different color so you can really see this. That's a crazy color. We'll use this color. This is Bermuda Bay. Okay, so I'm putting, this is on the left, I just used direct cut with the CM350 and I cut out this image, and on the right I used direct cut with the SDX125. Both machines were recently aligned and I particularly like the one on the left better, but they're both awesome. So I mean, use whatever machine you have. Obviously you probably don't have two machines. I'm just telling you that you'll see me go back and forth between the different machines because this one does a better job with cutting stamped images and using direct cut. This one does. The CM350. See, look at that white space. No matter how many times I use scanning, cutting, position adjustment, I can't quite get the white space even around these. In fact, it's better to see with the black ones here. Let's do the black ones. Everything's better when you put it in, when you scan them in black and white. Look at that. CM350, recently aligned, SDX125 recently aligned. Okay, a little bit extra white space right there. It doesn't matter. They're both awesome. I'm going to use them for cards. I'm very happy. And this one I did with the CM350 or SDX the other day, and that came out pretty good. That was better. This was more even. So it just from day to day, I go to cut these images and it comes out perfectly on the SDX. Later that same day, I'll cut like 5 more sheets of paper, some cardstock, and then my alignment goes off. Then I have to realign it. So it's not like a big deal. Okay, I'm just ranting. I mean, sorry, brother. It's like you're not consistent. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to talk about now scan to cut data. Okay, scan to cut data. I want to do it while I'm up here with this machine. So we're going to click OK. Because now you're going to see a reason why I love the SDX. So you just saw why I love the CM350. So now let's do this. We're going to do scan to cut data now. We're going to put this some martini glasses. Let's grab some more martini glasses. Here are some martini glasses. Oh, I know I cut out 5 sheets of these. Let's get a better sheet. We're going to do the pencil trick to them. Always do the pencil trick. And we want, let's go back right to there. I'm leaving that screen on. So direct cut, you can't move things around. It doesn't matter what machine you're using. Direct cut, you can't move things around on the mat. You can still cut things directly. You're not going to save them. You can still do your layering, and it doesn't matter which machine you have. Okay, so I answered hopefully the questions from. So we had more questions about, can I do this? How did I already lose my paper already? Okay, we'll get back to it. We did answer 2 more questions hopefully. Okay, so let's put this down. I have more questions. That's why. So we're going to use scan to cut data and start. Okay, we're scanning in. I'm not sure if I actually did the bottom of my. Come to think of it, the bottom of the martini glass, but we'll see if it gets recognized. So we're scanning that in, and I'm using scan to cut data. So Judy said, I have the CM350. Can I do all the things you showed me? And Kathy UK, she said, can I do this on my CM350? And what they are referring to is what I showed in my last tutorial. I use scan to cut data. It's okay if only one scanned in because I did forget to cut the bottom of the martini glass. I forgot to use the pencil trick. I'm now in scan to cut data, and let's talk about this. I'm going to select the first option, which is just selecting the outline of the martini glass. This is selecting the inside and outside lines, and the last one is selecting all of the stray lines all over the mat. We want to select the first option. Okay, it did get both glasses, even better. Even better that it got 2. So I'm going to click over here. I'm going to make a selection. I'm going to ignore object size. Again, just to get rid of all those stray bits. And I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to save it to my machine, and it might need to clear some space. So I will just delete some martini glasses from yesterday here. We'll delete this one. And we can even delete some of these extra martini glasses up here. All right. I'm just making space is all I'm doing. So I'm saving it. Yours probably won't need to have space cleared. All right, so far, okay, let's say okay. We have scanned to cut data, and you're like, why in the world would you use that? What a waste of time. You could have just cut them straight out with direct cut. Yes, but here's where it really helps. Okay, we're going to go home. We're going to click OK, and we're going to retrieve the data. So it could be the next day, and you retrieve your data, which is your 2 martini glasses. Let's retrieve them from the machine. They should be the last file we just saved. There they are. And now you have 2 glasses, and I'm going to also show you how to change the paper size. But let's talk about why you'd want to use scan to cut data with the SDX. When we wanted to make an outline of these martini glasses over here with the CM350, look how much paper we wasted. We had to cut them in the same exact spot. We weren't able to move them. But now, let's click OK. We can move things. Let's click OK again. I'm sorry, let's click Edit. We can move things all around the mat. And I showed you in the last video how to change your paper size, which is, this is 6 by 6. So let's see how many we can fit in here. We know, because I just did it earlier, how many martini glasses we can fit. So I think it was like, I think it was like 8 total. So let's try the 8 total. So we're going to click on Object Edit, and we're going to, so that's already 1 over there, plus 7 total. So let's try that. So I think I could fit 8 on this little piece of paper. So one thing you might be noticing right now, we're using ScanNCut data, is that you can, in ScanNCut data, you can move things. You can't move things in direct cut on any machine. But when ScanNCut data, you can move things all around, can't you? Another thing you're going to notice about ScanNCut data is that you can resize things. That's this button here. You can resize. You can't do that with direct cut. Another thing you're going to notice is you can duplicate. There's your duplicate button. Can't do that with direct cut. Okay? So I'm going to just try to get these martini glasses on the mat and show you something. So and I'm going to show you how to layer in just a second. Let's just see if I can get them all. I'm going to click OK and see if we can auto lay them all out to see how many will fit on there. Okay, perfect, 8. Okay, so now I just wanted to explain this part. Up into this part right now, so this is for Judy and Kathy, UK. You ask, can I do what you're showing on my CM350? Yes, you can do exactly what I've just showed you. You can make many martini glasses in the ScanNCut data. You can use ScanNCut data. You can create all these martini glasses. You can use the auto layout. You can cut them all out. But what is going to happen? What is going to happen if you cut these all out right now? You're going to have a big hot mess on your hands, and here's why. Because this feature right here is only going to cut out these type of martini glasses. Meaning, it's not a big hot mess, so it'll actually work. And you might think these look cute, but I think my olive got cut off sometimes, and I don't like the way it just didn't cut them out right. All it's going to do is cut out without an outline distance, okay? That's all it's going to do. So I'm going to take this paper out, take this mat out. And so right now, up until this point, you can do the same thing I'm showing you with the CM350, and we'll get back to that at the end. But I want to show you now something else. We're going to click Edit, and I'm just going to delete everything but maybe one. So let's delete, let's make a selection. Oops. Let me unselect them all and just make a selection and delete. Just a few, just everything but 1 or 2. Okay, I'm making a selection, I'm deleting. Nope, I didn't get them all, but that's okay. I'll delete them manually. I'm trashing as many as I can. Let's trash, trash, trash. This is a very important point, and probably it's the main point of my whole video. All right, so I am using right now the SDX125. Okay, I'm going to be comparing this in a minute. We'll go to Object Edit and look at something we have here in this model of machine that you're not going to see back on the CM350. Okay, so sure, you can save paper. Sure, you can cut out many things at once. Sure, you can make them bigger and smaller. Okay, but you can't get a true bigger and smaller outline distance. That is only accomplished in the SDX. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Things need to grow. When you put an outline distance around something, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Click here. So don't cut out the martini glasses without an outline distance. If you have the SDX125, you can click in here and you can make an outline distance of 0.04, like we did in direct cut. Let's move that away. We can go back to the main. There's the one with the 0.04. We can click back on the original and click on the layers and make one with 0.08. And that's an outline distance. But look at that outline distance. I need to really zoom in and show you that. That is not the same as trying to enlarge a martini glass. The only way to properly make a layer in ScanNCut data is if you have an SDX machine. Click OK. This is a proper layer. A layer grows. It grows out. It grows outwards. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to take this martini glass and make it bigger. Oh, I can still use ScanNCut data and make it bigger. No, you can't make it bigger. You can make it bigger, but it's not going to be a proper outline around the whole thing evenly. So the only way to make even outline distances around the whole thing evenly is to use the SDX models of machine. So they do that better. There's some things they do better, and I'm just putting a real big one so you can see. Look at how that grows outwards. How cool is that, okay? So yes and no, to answer your question, you can use ScanNCut data, you can resize, you can save paper, but when you cut out all your martini glasses in the CM350, they're all going to look like that. Not like this, this, this. You can't make your proper layers and save paper, but you can still accomplish what I showed you. So let me zoom back out, grab my other machine, wrap this up and show you some projects. There's the website, by the way, to download this Share Sunshine digital stamp set. 100% of the proceeds go to the COVID relief efforts. All right, so here we go. Back to this. And we put this piece of paper on the mat. We're going to use, turn on the machine, scan to cut data. You know, you saw that, right? Direct cut, scan to cut data. Now I'm back on, by the way, CM350. This is the CM350. I'm ending with the CM350. So I started with the CM350 and I'm ending with the CM350. This is what you can do with your CM machines. Okay? And you know, in your SDX machines, you can do a little more. But your CM machines are better at cutting patterns, stamped images. They're better at some things. They're just not better at this one thing here. So don't give up, though. You can still make your layers using direct cut. You just can't make your layers using scan to cut data. Okay, I also wanted to make sure I addressed Chris. Chris asked, how do you fix images that will not scan? And the way I addressed that question, Chris, was the way I fix images that will not scan are 3 ways. I either use the pencil trick to enclose the gaps. That's one way to fix them if they don't scan. I change from black and white recognition mode to color. That's another way to fix them. Or I move the object to another part of the mat. Okay, those are the 3 ways to fix something that will not scan. Okay, check. We hopefully answered that question. Let me see what the other 2 questions are. Okay, yeah, we'll get to that too. Okay, so, all right. We're using scan to cut data. We're going to select the first option. This is the CM350. This is the outlines. This is the inside and outside, and this is just the lines. We'll see how many get selected here. Maybe just 1 because of my quick job on the pencil trick there. But no, it got both of them. Yay for me. I didn't think I was going to get both of them. Select the area you want. Okay. You can ignore object size here. Ignore object size. And we're going to click OK. Oh no, we're going to click ignore object size. I think it's still, see how there's little stray bits over there. Click OK. We got rid of the stray objects and we're going to save it. Where do we want to save it? To our machine. Not to Canvas workspace, just to our machine. There's not enough data available. Of course there's not, because my crafty friends know I always fill up my machine. Jump to the end. Let's see what I can delete. Those are my little doggies. I don't want to delete them. I don't even know what all this stuff is. These are like nugget wrappers. Here, bunnies. Let's delete the bunnies. They're from Easter time. Okay, back, save. So I'm saving something, and each machine has, so every machine you save things to, they're only on that machine when you say save directly to the machine. They're not like online. Okay, at this point, let's just go home. I'm going to retrieve the data. So now I'm using the CM350. I'm going to go, I turn on my machine. It's the next day, whatever. I'm going to go into pattern. I'm going to retrieve the data I just saved. That's this one, saved data. Okay, it's retrieving the data, saved data. Where is it saved from? It's saved from my machine. I pull it up, I jump to page 10. You could, I could go upwards to page 10 like this too. You can jump up to page 10 by going up. There are my 2 martini glasses. Let's click OK. Very important. This is just kind of wrapping up what you can't do. So, I was asked, what about, can you do this with, can I do this outline distance? So let's go click here to the edit and look at what you can do and what you can't do. Remember all those options we saw. Okay, remember all the options. This is all you have here. This is it, folks. You're in the CM350. You can do this. You can resize. Okay. I can resize a martini glass. You can do that in this SDX. You can do the whole, what's this, filling in the color. If you're going to be drawing and you're trying to fill in the color, maybe, you're using the markers and you're trying to fill in a color. You can mirror the object, putting the martini little thing on the left, just like you can on the SDX. This is stitching. This is like, this is not the same as an outline. This is sort of an offset for embroidery, but it's not the same as making an outline distance, okay? So you can't do it, okay? It's not there. Just close it, okay? You can't do it. I mean, I'd love it if you could do it, but you just can't create the outline distance. Okay, I'm pulling this back. See that? See that? Look at this. You don't have this option. You have that same embroidery stitch. You got the mirroring option. You got the fill. You don't have this option here that you have. This is the SDX, by the way. That is the layering option. You don't have that in the CM350. Okay, so I hope we got that concept down. I keep getting asked it over and over again. I had to do a whole video on it just to show you that you can't, there's what you can't do, but you can still do it the other way, right? There are more than one way to do something. So if you want to make an outline distance around your martini glasses, use direct cut. You're just going to waste a lot of paper, that's all. I mean, you're going to have to use direct cut, and your things are going to be as far away as your printout. That's how far away they're going to be, but you can do it. All right, so let's address the final question, and hope you understand that inside, so I've used ScanNCut data. I'm using the CM. Okay, you can still move things around. I love that. You can do that in any model. You know, we can still change our paper size like we did earlier. Cutting area, same thing as before. We can change our paper size. We can try to save paper, right? We can resize those. We can make bigger martini glasses, but they're not proper. They're not, just because we make them bigger. Here, just because we make them bigger, let's go in there and make them bigger, doesn't mean that they grew the right way. They didn't grow the right way. Meaning, I hope you, wait, hold on. I'm seeing that there's a little bit of a glare there. Let's click OK. Okay, there you go. Now you can see it, crafty friends. Just because you can make something bigger inside a CM350 doesn't mean you can get this effect, which is a true outline. It grows it. All right, with all that said, I hope you're not depressed if you have a CM350, because your machine does a heck of a better job cutting stamped images and pattern paper and things with a solid black outline. So I hope you're not depressed if you have one. I hope you're thinking this. Well, crafty friends, I hope you're thinking this. Let me go back here to this screen here, or here to save. This is what you could do, okay? And I'm not gonna go do this right now. Is if you really want an outline distance and save paper, then just take what you've ScanNCut data in either machine, and save it to ScanNCut Canvas. Because inside Canvas workspace, no matter which machine you're using, you can then add outline distances. I teach this in my classes all over the place. Adding outline distance. I taught it in the fonts class and the card making class. You can use Canvas workspace to put your outline distances on your objects. Save lots of paper, align things, and do all kinds of more things. So if you want to save something to, Canvas workspace, that's where you would do it. And with that said, I will show you my projects that I've been up to. Or no, I think I've already showed you, but maybe if you're new to my channel, so we'll show you what I made with this page. This is called page 4 of the Digital Sunshine stamp set. Okay, this is where I got the Digital Sunshine stamp set. So download that. Just print them out as is. Don't manipulate the images online. Just print them out as is, and then you can do all kinds of stuff. Like if you don't want to use scissors, you can scan them in and cut them out. Okay, I also cut out layers because I didn't want to use scissors, so that's why I do that. I'm just putting something there. So, oops, wrong thing to put there. I'm just putting something there for color purposes. Nope, wrong thing to put there, but well, it's okay. I'm only going to show you my cards, and we're wrapping things up. So I showed these in my last tutorial. So what I'm doing with the scanned images that I scan in and cut out is just what I would do with a regular pair of scissors. Nothing different. I'm just taking, instead of using scissors to cut out these out of the piece of paper, I'm using the ScanNCut. I'm erasing the marks when I'm done, and I'm just using the ScanNCut. I have cards at various stages of completion, and I'm using different card kits. Like here's one I've finished using the Lots of Happy card kit. And by the way, it says Stampin' Up. It says COVID19.stampinup.com. I'll have it linked in the description as well. Okay, so there's the Quarantini cards I made. And I also made one with a little piggy. There's a little piggy. And this stamp set's retiring. This little piggy is my favorite stamp set. And inside of that one, I put the saying. And I think I'm almost done with my Quarantini, and I'm going to move on to some other projects in this set. And here's one I used, a paper pumpkin kit. Lovely day. And I just used one of these gatefold cards inside the kit. And I'm glad I had a refill of that kit because I always get 2 kits. And that's how I made so many cards. And I'm just using the same designs over and over. And here's one that's almost done. I just needed that one that I was using for the example in this tutorial is this martini glass. or quarantini glass, I should say. And here's a card I just finished right before this tutorial using, I don't want to block that website. Sorry, I don't want to block the website, but you got to see 4 cards I made, and here's a 5th card. And I've already mailed one of the cards, so actually I made 6 altogether. And here's a card I made, Have Another Quarantini, and I'm using this here, Have Another Quarantini. I'm using this one. I'm using a card from, there you go, and that's one with a copper background to it. So I was using this as an example, and I'm going to be gluing that right onto there. So I have one in dimensional. This is popped up on dimensionals using layers, 0.04 outline distance and 0.08 behind it with the copper. And then I used this card kit called, it's sold out now, 3 Cheers. It's sold out in English, it's only in French. It's called the 3 Cheers for You All-Inclusive Card Kit. Okay, so that's what I'm using to make this card. And some little gems from the Noble Peacock set, but all these little embellishments and these little copper sequins are all from this card kit. So please keep asking questions. I did have some more questions. I just can't address them all in the same video. They were about the same topic as well, because I think I had over 20 between the 2 groups I'm in. But I think I addressed at least 5 in this video. So, hopefully, if you understand that, give it a thumbs up. And don't give me a thumbs down if you don't understand it. Just keep on asking. No, you can do whatever you want. It's a free world. But I'm saying, just ask more questions. I have no problem answering them. And I just knew I needed to do another video because of all the confusion from my last video. That's all for now. This is the Papered Chef.